Imagine having the power to literally uncover public information, verify crucial legal facts, and do professional-level due diligence. Think about the hours of unnecessary effort and the costly mistakes you could avoid. Well, today, we're going to give you that exact power. In this explainer, we're demystifying the legal system and showing you exactly how to search Springfield court records. All right, let's dive right in. You know, court records are often described as the truth hiding right in plain sight. And it doesn't matter if you're a journalist digging into a local story, a landlord running background checks, a genealogist tracing family history, or honestly, just an absolute beginner trying to look up a simple traffic citation. Knowing how to navigate judicial records, that is your ultimate tool for due diligence. We're going to build your confidence up from scratch today so you can locate real, official information without needing a law degree. So, here's our game plan. We'll start with the power of public records, look at how to navigate the Springfield courts, walk through a step-by-step search guide, cover privacy and fees, troubleshoot some common problems, and then wrap it all up with a recap. Okay, part 1, the power of public records. So what exactly is a court record? Simply put, it's an official document or file created during a legal proceeding. We're talking about schedules, judgments, filed motions, the whole shebang. And courts are actually mandated by laws like the Missouri Sunshine Law, the Massachusetts Public Records Law, and the Oregon Public Records Law to keep these files open to the public. Why? It's all about judicial accountability. The justice system has to operate out in the open, so you and I can verify that the laws are actually being applied fairly. And you might be surprised by just how much information is publicly available. We're not just looking at criminal cases here. You can look into civil lawsuits, family court matters like divorce or custody, probate and estate records, small claims, and yeah, even everyday traffic violations. From a tiny speeding ticket in municipal court up to a massive civil lawsuit in a circuit court, an absolute mountain of human activity is documented and accessible to you. Moving right along to part 2, navigating the Springfield courts. Now listen up, because this is where almost every beginner makes their very first mistake. You absolutely have to identify which Springfield you need. There isn't just one. Our sources highlight 5 distinct Springfield jurisdictions across the U.S. If you need a case in Springfield, Missouri, you're dealing with Greene County on a system called Case.net. But Springfield, Illinois, that's Sangamon County using ResearchIL. Springfield, Massachusetts goes through Hampton County's Mass Courts. Ohio relies on Clark County's Common Pleas Online. And Springfield, Oregon uses the OECI portal. If you search the wrong state's database, you are confidently going to find absolutely nothing. You also need to pinpoint the exact level of court you need. Local municipal courts handle city ordinances like local traffic tickets. County and state courts handle the big stuff, civil disputes, state-level felonies. But what if you're looking for a federal offense or maybe a bankruptcy? Those go straight to the federal courts, like the U.S. District Courts. And whether you're in the Western District of Missouri or the Central District of Illinois, federal courts use a completely different, nationwide electronic system called PACER. So no, you're definitely not going to find a federal bankruptcy on a local city website. All right, let's get into the step-by-step instructions. Part 3, our search guide. Think of this as your universal blueprint. Step 1, get your facts straight before you even touch a keyboard. You want the exact spelling of the names and ideally the specific case number. Step 2, choose the right portal based on which Springfield and what court level you need. Step 3, run the search. If you have the case number, use it. That's the fastest route. If not, use the last name and filter it down by filing dates or the attorney's info. And step 4, verify. Look at what's called the docket. A docket is basically just an index or summary of everything that's happened in the case. Check those entries to confirm you've got the right person and the right file. Let's paint a picture here with a practical scenario. Say you want to search a simple traffic ticket in Springfield, Missouri. Because of digital integration, you can literally just pull up Case.net on your smartphone, type in the name, and boom, there's the ticket. But what if you need to run a criminal name search in Springfield, Massachusetts? Well, Massachusetts law heavily restricts remote criminal name searches to protect privacy. To pull that off, you legally have to visit a physical courthouse, like the Hampton County Hall of Justice, and use their dedicated public terminals. So remember, not everything lives on the internet. Which brings us to part 4, privacy, restrictions, and fees. Now, as much as the judicial system aims for transparency, there are strict boundaries you have to anticipate. Courts are constantly balancing your right to know with an individual's right to privacy. Because of that, some files are just entirely off limits to the public. You generally aren't going to get access to juvenile delinquency reports, adoptions, or mental health commitments. If a judge has ordered a criminal record to be sealed or expunged, it essentially vanishes from public view. Plus, even in fully public documents, things like social security numbers and bank accounts are heavily redacted. So, what's the difference between browsing a screen and holding a legally binding document? Viewing a basic case summary, a court schedule, or a docket entry online is almost always completely free. But if you're finalizing a real estate deal, running a formal background check, or dealing with litigation, you're going to need a certified copy. And certified copies always come with administrative fees to help the court recover its costs. To put that in perspective, Springfield, Oregon charges a flat fee of $24 for a certified docket. Contrast that with Springfield, Missouri, where they charge 25 cents per page, plus a $3 certification fee per document. Basically, every jurisdiction has its own unique fee schedule. Oh, and here is a massive pro tip for dealing with these courts. They rarely, if ever, accept personal checks. Expect to pay with a credit card online or bring cash or a money order if you're heading down to the clerk's window. When you step away from standard court cases and look at broader municipal public records, advanced research requires a totally different strategy. For example, the city recorder in Springfield, Oregon uses a tiered system. A level 1 request is super fast and often free, but a level 3 request, that might involve city staff digging through massive archives or getting legal reviews. For those, you'll be given a cost estimate, and they literally won't even start searching until you authorize it and pay the fee up front. Okay, let's pivot to part 5, troubleshooting common search problems. We've all been there. You hit a total roadblock and the search turns up empty. First rule, don't panic. Check your spelling first, or try partial name search. You also have to watch out for strict system rules. For instance, the Sangamon County system in Illinois actually restricts your filing date searches to a maximum range of 31 days. Try typing in a 6-month range and the system just rejects it. Keep in mind that central databases also go down for routine maintenance. And hey, if you're looking for a case from before 1990 in Clark County, Ohio, it is simply not online. You're going to the courthouse to scroll through physical microfilm. Just always make sure you're using the official government source, not some third-party site with outdated info. Before we wrap up, I want to quickly decode a heavy piece of legalese you might run into, especially if you're moving records across state lines. If a standard certified copy isn't cutting it, you might be asked for an exemplified copy. According to Clark County's procedures, this is a highly authenticated document. It actually requires the court clerk to sign it, certifying the judge, and then the judge signs it, certifying the clerk. Yes, it costs more, but it proves beyond a shadow of a doubt to an out-of-state authority that the record is 100% genuine. And finally, part 6, our recap and legal disclaimer. We have covered a ton of ground today, so let's lock in those golden rules. First and foremost, double-check which Springfield you actually need. Gather your exact facts before you start searching. Use free online state portals like case.net or mass courts for your initial lookups. But accept the fact that for sensitive criminal searches or old historical files, you'll probably need to visit the local court clerk in person. And finally, whenever you need official paper copies, anticipate those fees and leave your personal checkbook at home. Now, for the necessary fine print. This explainer is intended for educational and informational purposes only. It absolutely does not constitute legal advice. While we've mapped out exactly how these systems work based on official sources, every legal situation is unique. If you have specific legal questions or you're facing a court case, you should absolutely consult a qualified legal professional or the official court authorities in your area. You are officially equipped. You've got the map, the compass, and the professional strategies to navigate the sometimes complex world of Springfield court records. Whether you're doing a quick background check or diving super deep into judicial history, the tools of transparency are quite literally right at your fingertips. So I'll leave you with this final thought. Armed with this knowledge, what truth will you uncover in the public record? Thanks for learning with us today.